Like, subscribe, ID in the Discovery channel. Yes, ID in the Discovery channel. The links are provided below. Get that Discovery Go app as well as that ID Go app. You might want to get those two things, combine them, make them into one. So, about this 35-year-old hiker and physical therapist, Amanda Eller. She was last seen on May 8th. Location, Maui, Hawaii. Search crews, when it comes, have you guys heard of this story? By now everybody should have heard of it. I was going to in fact upload this video a few days back as soon as everything came out about her missing, as well as her boyfriend speaking about the situation, and yet I waited because I wanted to see first how it was all going to play out. But yeah, search crews have in fact been scouring Makawaho. Can you pronounce that? Can you, the viewer, dear viewer, can you pronounce that? They were in fact, or have been in fact, scouring Forest Reserve on Maui for Eller. No signs when it comes to the question of was there any foul play of her being missing. There in fact has not been any foul play which point into her disappearance. There's a lot of questions that even you, the viewer, yourself could in fact ask when it comes to hikers, knowing that hikers oftentimes go off the hike alone, which I can't really judge and say, well, that's something you shouldn't do. But to be out and say wooded areas, to say you never know, especially when you leave your phone. But surveillance footage documents Eller alone around 10:05 a.m. at Haiku Market on May 8th. She then drove to a post office nearby to mail her mother a Mother's Day package. Surveillance footage, that's the best thing, yes, to have that sort of equipment. Some people figure, I've heard people say, well, if surveillance footage was more clear, things would be more pronounced, as in finding out, but not with this sort of situation. But people, I can agree with that sort of thing about surveillance footage needing to be more upgraded and more clear. It in fact does. Reading facial expressions and all the rest. So surveillance footage was available showing her leaving. She was in fact leaving the parking lot of the post office, right? And that was approximately around 10:21 a.m. She was in her own vehicle, which was a 2015 Toyota RAV4. Some men might say RAV4. People have different pronunciations of how they say things. Some people say RAV4. Some say RAV4. Wherever you come from, that. Her vehicle was seen by an off-duty firefighter, and that vehicle of hers was said to be in the parking lot. Same parking lot. Let me pause right quick. When it comes to, yes, the Forest Reserve, I'm going to get to the questions later. Did I mention that? That's why I said let me pause for a second, because with my brain, once I start talking, my brain wants to pull pieces apart, and yet I got the questions for the end, right? So, yes, her truck was said to be in the parking lot of the Forest Reserve near Hunter's Trail. The time was 12:12 p.m. Maui Police Department confirmed such. Lieutenant Greg Akamoto confirmed such. When it comes to within the park, as in who's seen what or who was around the premises, park employees went to lock gates to the entrance of the park, and that is when they noticed her truck. They noticed her truck sitting in the lot. So all was around 7 p.m. No one else was in the area, and no one stood surrounding the vehicle as it sat there. And that stuff like that, when a vehicle sits like there, is a question, well, could she have gotten in the vehicle with somebody else? Could somebody have walked up to her, say, been nice, and say, well, you know how individuals walk up sometimes, compliment or There's all type of people that roam in parks, which is why it's unsafe to be in a park alone being a female. That's not to say males could do damaging and dangerous things. I'm just saying anybody. A bear being out in the woods, anything can. My cousin, we're about the same age, in fact, got chased by a baby bear, a black baby bear. Anything can happen while you're out in wooded area. Let that be said. So the very next day, Eller was reported missing by boyfriend of Eller. The boyfriend, Benjamin Kunko, stated that she was known to frequent the forest reserve. That was after police arrived at their home. So 9:50 a.m. is when the police arrived at the forest reserve and found her vehicle. Eller's personal items. This is the interesting part when it comes to, well, did she leave anything else behind besides her truck to show and express anything? Sometimes leaving certain details, well, not certain details, but certain personal property can point into certain things. So Eller's personal items such as cell phone and purse were in the vehicle. Did you get that? Her purse as well as her phone was in the vehicle. Both cell phone and purse were on the front passenger floorboard, and her other belongings such as backpack and water bottle were found in plain sight resting on the passenger seat in the front of the vehicle. That's very vital. And the reason why I say that, because anytime you have a person go missing, and sometimes when they leave things, personal items behind, that's to say this might not be the case, but there's individuals that don't want to be found. They in fact don't want to be found, so they set up certain situations that make it seem like something else could have happened, or made it seem like maybe they got lost or whatnot. Which individuals did I mention that? It stands in question. So black slippers. A pair of black slippers, that was the number one thing. As soon as the story came out, I said, oh no, the black slipper. See, police was focused on the phone, right? Family, friends, they considered, well, she would oftentimes leave her phone when she would go walking out on trails at parks or whatnot, just to get away. I'll mention that later again. But the black slippers, my focus was that, because what I wanted to know was the kind of black slippers. There was a pair of black slippers which belonged to her. They were in the truck, right? Because I'm gonna come back to later, because see, you want to question when it comes to black slippers, what kind, such as the type. Are they black slippers which are worn around a house, or are they slippers for outdoors? There's in fact outdoor slippers as well as in-home slippers, and yet some people in fact get in their car and drive away with their in-home slippers on their feet. See what I'm going with this? I'll rewind back in a little bit with that. So details in Eller's disappearance showed no signs, once again, of no struggle, no foul play. Victor Ramos, an assistant police chief, expressed such at a news conference on May 16th. Police stood in question of why Eller would leave both her purse and phone in her truck. Friends of Eller reassured police that Eller was known to get away from the world, as in she would. I said that already. That's the second time you need to hear that. Because some people miss the first cue. They don't hear it and get it the first time. Her friends said that oftentimes she would leave her phone behind so that she can hike out in nature alone. I guess to clear her mind. How some people feel they want to clear their mind, get away from it all. As in what people that what's the name of it? Some people that's into consciousness or higher consciousness or new age practices, they will say disconnect from it all. I'll use that term. So other vehicles, a pickup truck was spotted alongside Eller's truck on May 8th. That too was near Hunter's Trail. as an older male toting 2 dogs were also in the same area. But vehicle of that male, like, is something coming down through my, it sounds like something was bleeding through my headphones. I'm sorry. Let me rewind back again. So, other vehicles. A pickup truck was spotted alongside Eller's truck on May 8th. That too was near Hunter's Trail, as an older male toting 2 dogs were also in the same area. Vehicle of that male was a white Toyota van. White Toyota van. Did you get that? So, for the people who were touring, such as hikers who were touring in the area around the day and time Eller went missing, police holds interest in having a word with them to see if they notice anything usual, strange, or unusual. Usual, strange, or unusual. Not the usual aspect. Unusual and strange, right? So, yes, to see if there was anything going on, or see if they seen anything that was, yeah. So sometimes people can walk amongst an area and feel something's not right, feel this or that, right? Helps to not bypass intuition. But yeah, so they wanted to speak with those individuals and still do today when it comes to forest reserves premises. So polygraph testing. That boyfriend of Eller's was in fact, yes, he took a polygraph test and passed. Nothing at the home of Eller and her boyfriend showed any foul play. There was no foul play met there, as in the home in which she and boyfriend shared together. So that in fact made the boyfriend, in a sense, not one of interest, right? He has in fact been cleared. But MPD detective Dennis Clinton, he didn't have more to say. I just basically was saying he was responsible for that call, as in what I just said. Helps to know who said what and why, right? That points to responsibility, because these days and ages, a lot of times you do have certain things that go on and you're like, well, who said what and why, right? But yeah. So, canvassing of the area. I'm out of wind and I'm sweating because my fan is off, just so I can make this video as pronounced with that. Canvassing of the area included 100 volunteers, fire rescue crew. That's all the search team. Yeah, because I was thinking about that for a few hours. Thinking, where could this individual have gone? As soon as I walk up to everything, I'm saying, an observation, trying to hear and scope out and figure out. The first thing that came to my mind was, she's lost in the park. That's the very first thing that hit me. She's lost in the park. So for something to go on and a person be missing for a week or so is to say, how long can life be lived with that? And not only that, the last breath, I consider stuff like that. If she got lost in the park, hopefully it was peaceful and not painful or anything, and hopefully there was no wild attack by any wild animals or anything like that. That's what I'm saying. So my questions. Drones are in fact and have been in fact used in the search for Eller, right? Questioning, because see, anybody would want to know, well, could there have been something wrong? And that's what I asked. Did she want to disappear, or did she just become lost in the park? Because to know that hikers, there's all type of issues that happen when hikers go at it alone and hiking. There was an Asian woman that broke her leg, and good thing they in fact found her and rescued her. But she's not the only one. It's so many individuals too that go unaccounted for because oftentimes it's not well documented pertaining to the percentages of individuals that go missing. There's logs for that sort of thing. And yet to not properly, when it comes to stating percentages, that's why you and I, the viewer, oftentimes don't know. Well, what is the percentages of, say, hikers or just individuals missing in parks overall? Parks, national parks more than anything. If you fail to document over the years, is to say you just don't know. Any of these missing people outside, that's what I'm trying to say. Everything needs to, in fact, be documented because, see, a person could go missing and you and I think that they're just missing, such and such left the house and they didn't return back, right? They might have went to a national park and yet you thinking they was off with a boyfriend or girlfriend or somewhere else, right? And they get lost in some woods or something like that. I'm able to make the connection by dissecting stuff piece by piece. The documentation of, well, we don't know the public, the percentage of how many dead bodies are laid or strewn out in national parks or parks overall as a whole. People, because if you leave the house and then you don't return, and then we do in fact have the proper percentages of missing individuals, missing persons, right? Missing children, right? Who's not to say one of those individuals more than likely made their way into a park, such as this forest reserve, national parks, all in between. So, the black slippers found in her vehicle. I have to go back to that. I said I was going to go back to that. Dear viewer, you can leave a comment in the comment section. When it comes to slippers, what all type of slippers exist that you've seen? Making models, I'm saying. Because any one of you guys could have in fact wore some slippers. House slippers, outdoorsy type slippers. Because see, when I look at her photo, she seemed more like a hippie type of, and even her boyfriend seemed more like a hippie type. Hippie type individuals are known and prone to be laid back in the atmosphere. Which is to say, instead of wearing sneakers, it's to say they might in fact just like to wear slippers everywhere, right? But at first I was questioning the color of black. See, because anytime you say, well, did the person want to go missing? You're going to in fact question the color of the slipper. I just do that sort of thing to add it in, right? What could black slippers represent? Could it represent an issue between between boyfriend and girlfriend? Does color represent the color of death? It's stuff like that, right? Because despite law enforcement and the boyfriend saying the boyfriend tried to make it put out there well known that there was no foul play himself. So do people drive with slippers on their feet? This one is for you and your thinking strategies and the rest, dear viewer. Do people drive with slippers on their feet? Would someone need to change from slippers into sneakers? Would sneakers be a replacement for those slippers in order to walk out into the woods to hike? Or did she hike or did she not hike? Did she get in a vehicle with somebody else? The black slippers. When I asked about the black slippers, because that too, black slippers being in the vehicle, and you're wondering, well, did she take a walk? Did she take a stroll? Did she take a hike? To go hiking is to say you need something very compatible for your feet to endure what it is your feet is striking on or striking against, right? So the black slippers, I asked because the relationship with her boyfriend. Something can look good on the outside. It might not be. It might be, right? 2, her emotional state before she went missing. Could her emotional state have been in a happy place? Or could something have went wrong before she left? What was that the relationship? Because see, her, when I looked up the pictures on her boyfriend, his eyes kind of seem vacant. Maybe that's just hippie type of thing, not completely right. I had been known to have certain hippie ways, so I can't really, not whatever, right? But the eyes always tell a lot. Go look at the man's photos, right? That's not to prejudge or anything like that. But 2, you do want to look into the eyes of, say, boyfriends when their girlfriends go missing. I just wanted to read in depth into his eyes to see. There was almost like a hollowness or something like that. That's not to say that he you can tell that he loved her and want her to come back home, but it just helps to be observant, right? So was her intention that day to hike or walk? And not only that, what type of shoes were she known to wear? That goes back to the slippers again. What type of shoes were she known to wear? And not only that, at the park, but at other parks as well. You always want to question. When a person goes missing, you want to question their footing more than anything. As in, not just them leaving and coming up missing. No. What was in fact, what could have in fact been worn on their feet if they leave another pair of shoes behind? That stands questionable. What type of shoes were she known to wear? And not only that, the park. When she would go to parks. Other parks as well. Day to day. Not day to day at parks, but in her day to day affairs too. What type of shoes would she wear? Because even shoes can tell a lot about a person. They can tell their personality. To say, well, if I wear sneakers a lot, is to say, well, I could be a strong, bold person. I could be a laid back, carefree type of person. Right? But I might in fact want some sneakers, something sturdy on my feet when I'm out and about. More so when I'm at a park, right? And not just my black slippers. There's more there. It's further than that I'm going to keep it right where it's at instead of going, because I'll be here all day. So because into the purse, a purse with the slippers. The purse with their slippers as well as the phone, because see, that's all in question. Why would she need to leave her purse knowing that the average woman, on average, not only carries her purse, but knows that the purse represents her identity, femininity, and carrying a purse? I'm not the most, I'm not really feminine at all. That's funny in itself. You can laugh with that, dear viewer. But a purse, in fact, represents identity. Consider identification cards as well as bank cards. Money. But more than anything, a woman's pride possession would more than likely be her credit cards and to her ID. One or the other, right? Why would a grown woman leave her purse like that, especially in a vehicle? That just don't seem right. Why would I leave my purse behind knowing that purse is identification to me? That purse represents me as a whole individual in a sense. That purse, in fact, represents who she is. More than anything, even if the purse don't have value, even if nothing, in fact, is in the purse. I don't really know too many women. I mean, I knew one personal family friend that did, in fact, leave her purse in her van, and I had to tell her, people in fact break windows for that sort of thing. You should never leave your purse anywhere in no car or nothing like that, because what it will lead to is you being responsible for repairs on your own vehicle, as in the glass. Hundreds of dollars with that. The repair work with that. And possibly them even stealing the car, right? Because some people have been known to even leave their purse with their keys in the car while they're off doing something else, right? Be wise with that. So, the questions of noticeable behavior. Yeah, because some people's personality change before they become missing, right? That's why. The chipper, happy, sadness. Friends, personal friends would know about that sort of thing. Wooded area and being lost. Didn't I mention that in the beginning? How some wooded areas can be very secluded, and even that can cause issues at night. There was a little boy that I mentioned that in one of my other videos, a little 3-year-old boy that got lost in the woods. Yeah, and it was nighttime, right? And some type of way, he didn't get snatched by a bear or nothing else wild out there, but the search crews, and yeah, they in fact found him. Which is a miracle in itself. Not everybody gets that chance, right? There's been people that have walked up on, trying to travel up on mountains. When it comes to, they say when you're out, depending on what park you're at, right? You're supposed to go higher. Does that make sense? If I'm out in woods at night and say temperatures drop, if I'm more so at a national park, I'll say that sort of thing, right? And the temperatures are going to drop at night. It's to say a person can in fact freeze to death or something with that, right? You got hypothermia issues, I'm trying to say, when it comes to bodily organs and the rest. Heart tissue and more, right? That's to say I'm going to have to move up. Yes, on an incline. The further away from down here on earth, I must say, that's in fact a metaphor, right? Heat rises. So to live, in a park, if it's a national park, forest reserve, depending on the situation, as in the actual makeup and buildings, not actual buildings, you know what I'm saying. Volcanic activity, not so much, right? But you in fact, wanna, because heat rises, and you don't ever want to be out in a park, especially depending on which park out there, and then temperatures drop and they get cold. That's gonna cause issues, right? I had to throw that in there, despite this not being one of those situations. You never know, it could happen, right? We don't know, even in a warm climate or area. Even those places have been known where temperatures drop even at night, right? People have also been known to get tangled in trees at night. There's all type of things with the park situation and the wooded area, and that. There was a situation where I was on Facebook, was that last summer or so, when I was on there, and a family member and all the rest of them came into a Facebook group I was in, saying that one of their beloved family members was missing. Come to find out, helicopter, ended up rescuing her, but she might not have been so lucky. Her and her dog, they in fact got trapped in a secluded area. They were like way off. They were completely off the path. Anytime you get off the path, let me just pause at that. You don't ever want to, anytime you're walking on a path and you feel that you're off, is to not keep walking forward. I'm saying that leads to issues. With her, she drove her van, got off the path, and some type of way kept going in to the area, secluded area, and didn't know, right? That's a no-go. And 2, anytime you get lost in some woods, like in a secluded area, say coming off a path, is to always walk in a straight line. that's going to lead you out. How people sometimes get lost in parks and die too in national parks is because they zigzag around. They over here. No, first they're walking on the path, and then they get off the path and they notice, well, I'm off the path, right? Well, let me try to find my way back. And then they go over here. Well, this ain't it. Let me try to find another way. And then they go over here. No, well, this ain't it. Let me go back to where I came from. Then they go back to try to go where but they're not going back to where they came from. Because remember, to turn around in wooded areas to say, well, it all looks the same. So now you're going in a circle. So once again, to get lost in wooded area is to stay going straight, because it's going to lead you out to something. A straight line will always lead you to something more so than going here, going there, going there, going here, and zigzagging. Because you might in fact zigzag and be right where you started at. As in, you just turn around full circle and didn't even know, right? That's a no-go. So I can't wait to hear what is going on, as in what has happened, as what's going to be the end of this. I'm hoping something positive come out of the situation, and more than likely nothing negative, because for it to be this many days is to say, well, what's the luck in it, right? Helps to stay positive. So yeah, leave me a comment in the comment section, dear viewers. Tell me what you think about this young individual missing at age 35. That's a little bit too young to be out missing in some woods, right? Because see, my mind, some people, they don't really think far enough, and yet I do. I try to all the time. I try to put myself in a missing person's shoes, right? By saying, well, if I was out in the woods, right, and I get lost, where would I in fact go? Would I huddle under something, right? So, some people get out there, and I know this sounds gruesome, and yet it has to be said. This makes people aware of possibilities, right? Some might feel, well, you shouldn't say this or you shouldn't say that. You should consider the boyfriend's feelings or even the family. No, people need to in fact hear this, because it spreads awareness. What could be the likelihood of a person being lost in the woods and say not knowing that they're not, or knowing that they might not in fact make it out? How would they feel? Because you got to consider their feelings as well. It's their story more than anything, right? If that was you yourself, how would you feel if you got lost in some woods and say nighttime was starting to fall upon you? And say you could be in an area possibly secluded or something, right? And just get the sensing and feeling and knowing more likely are going to fade away here where I'm at and not make it out. You can leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know with that how you would feel. Because for every missing person that goes missing in these parks, I always say that, right? I just always wonder what they feel or what they felt while sitting there, while laying there. The individual, when she went missing and was discovered, her and her dog, they were in fact in a RV, right? I believe her name was it Penelope? Yeah, I believe it was. So when it came to her, she was in fact sick and dehydrated. By the time search and rescue crews found her, yeah, she was in fact dehydrated, as well as the dog. But she came close not to making it, because even she was missing, yes, for a few days, right? That's to say a person will be alone sitting there with their thoughts. You would hope that there will be guardian angels. So I think that's all to be said for that. So unlocked episodes. We are in fact on investigationdiscovery.com. Yes, investigationdiscovery.com. Unbreakable, Live to Tell. You can come back on here to gain and access audio visual previews, and in fact click the play button. sound. The play button for you, right? You too can scroll through these. It's a wide selection of videos, right? My screen is blown up too big. I'm going to have to, yes, take this down a notch. I try to tinker with it here and there, right? To mix it up some a little bit, right? To gain access to this, the lock is on padlock. It's locked all the way down, and yet it ain't a jail cell, right? You in fact have to provide your provider, such as who you're subscribed to. There's quite a few in here which is like that. Unlock series, same thing. Recommended for you. Shouts out to Lucinda. What is wrong with my words? Lieutenant Joe Kenda. First video is always the worst. And wording. I was gonna say need a vocal coach. Possibly. Never even knowing yet. It ain't Britney Spears. It ain't who else? Who else be singing? R&B. That's my thing. Who? Not Trey Songz. I forgot his name. What's his name? I can't even remember his he sung the song Sweet Lady. Tyrese. Apologies. ID Go Original Series. You have a tip? Love to John Walsh. Help in the pursuit if you have any information on a case featured on the show. You can submit right there. Yeah, but the vocal coach, that's never needed. I just need to, I get ahead of myself and jumping and wording. Crime Feed News, Crime Feed. To gain access to the Crime Feed for the latest, greatest, and mayhem, it's a click right within here, and you would in fact be directed to the outside, yes, to Crime Feed, crimefeed.com. To receive a newsletter is a type your email address in and click next. I think that's all to be said for right now. You're probably tired of hearing me. I'm tired of hearing myself. I'm long-winded. As in, it's a poor ideal to just sit in a room where it's hot with no fan on to make a video, and yet the heat out your mouth, the heat out of my mouth is in fact, yes, tinting my face. It's making me more hot, I'm saying, my breath. So I think that's all to be said for now. And enjoy your day. I in fact will enjoy mine. And I'm gone.